Okay. I want you to think about, say, the last 5 movies you watched.
Hmm.
I'm willing to bet almost all of them had an agenda. They were trying to sell you something.
Right. A moral or a feeling.
Exactly. Maybe it was greed is bad, or the triumph of the underdog, or, just the satisfaction of seeing the bad guy explode.
The tidy ending.
The tidy ending. Basically, they spent 2 hours trying to convince you of something.
That's the standard operating procedure for cinema.
Yeah.
Narrative as an argument.
Right. But today, we're doing something a little different. We are taking a deep dive into a film that does the complete opposite.
It doesn't argue at all.
It doesn't argue for life. It doesn't argue against it. There are no sad violins to tell you how to feel. It just waits beside a question that most of us spend our entire lives trying to avoid.
It's a rare thing,
Yeah.
A film that acts less like a story and more like a mirror.
And the film we're talking about is Taste of Cherry.
Huh?
It was released in 1997 by the Iranian director Abbas Kiarostami. Now, before anyone tunes out thinking this is going to be some dry academic film class, we need to be clear. This isn't just some obscure art film.
Not at all.
This movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. And for anyone who doesn't follow the festival circuit, that's basically the Super Bowl ring of artistic cinema.
It's the heavyweight championship belt. It's a huge deal. It's considered a cornerstone of the Iranian New Wave.
But masterpiece is such a heavy word, isn't it? It makes you think of something huge and loud.
And imposing. Taste of Cherry is none of those things. It's quiet, it's slippery, it just refuses to play by the rules we've all been trained to expect.
And that refusal, that's our mission for this deep dive. If you're listening to this expecting us to break down the plot or spoil the ending or tell you if the main character is right or wrong,
you're going to be disappointed.
We're not going to do that.
We can't. It would actually betray the entire spirit of the film. Kiarostami didn't want passive viewers. He wanted participants.
So instead, we're going to try to capture the experience of watching it. We want to talk about the atmosphere, the dust, the silence, and why this film trusts you, the viewer, more than almost any blockbuster you've ever seen.
So, buckle up.
We're going for a drive.
A drive is the perfect way to put it. Because the whole experience is anchored by this one central question. When all the noise of life stops, when it becomes silent, what actually keeps us here?
That's heavy.
It is. But the film doesn't frame it as a riddle you have to solve. It frames it as a landscape you have to travel through.
Okay, let's visualize that landscape. Because when I say masterpiece, people probably picture Dune or something epic.
Right, IMAX shots and sweeping orchestras.
But physically, this film is, well, it's a guy in a car.
It is the anti-Dune. The vast majority of it takes place inside a Range Rover driving around the outskirts of Tehran.
And it's not a scenic drive. We're not looking at lush forests or beautiful cities.
No, not at all. It's dust. It's construction sites. It's these dry, brown hills.
It feels almost exhausted.
Precisely. It's a landscape of transit, but not arrival. The protagonist, Mr. Badia, is just driving in circles. He's looking for someone, but he's also just drifting.
And the car itself is so important.
Oh, it's brilliant. Kiarostami uses the interior of that car like a little pressure cooker.
It feels claustrophobic just thinking about it.
It is, but think about the psychology of a car ride. When you're in a car with someone, you don't really have to make eye contact.
You're both looking forward.
You're both looking at the road. And it creates this bubble of safety where you can say things you'd never say face-to-face in a coffee shop. It becomes a confessional.
That's so true. The best conversations always happen when you're driving somewhere.
And Kiarostami strips everything else away to focus on that. This is classic humanist cinema. He removes the action. He removes the musical score. There is almost zero music in this film.
Wow.
He removes all the elaborate sets. You're left with nothing but the human face and the weight of the words.
That sounds incredibly risky from an entertainment standpoint. You're taking away all the shiny things that keep us distracted.
It's so risky.
Yeah.
It forces the viewer to confront that inner question we talked about.
Yeah.
There are no distractions. You can't look at the special effects. You have to look at the eyes of the person in the passenger seat.
And just listen to the crunch of the tires on the gravel.
Exactly.
So that drifting feeling. Usually in a movie, a drive has a destination, a purpose.
But here, it's just circling. It's a geography of waiting. The landscape outside is a perfect mirror for his internal state.
All those construction sites, the piles of dirt.
It's all unfinished. It's all in a state of becoming or decaying. And Mr. Badai is in that exact same state. He's moving, but he isn't getting anywhere.
And the soundtrack to all of this is mostly silence, which, I'll be honest, makes me anxious.
Of course.
In modern media, YouTube, TikTok, even this silence is the enemy. It's dead air. We're allergic to quiet.
We are terrified of the pause. We fill every second with noise because noise stops us from thinking. But in Taste of Cherry, silence is practically a supporting character.
How do you mean?
Well, there's this idea people talk about with this film, the ethics of staying. The film uses these long pauses, these shots where nothing is happening, to just invite you to be there.
It's not trying to entertain you.
No, it's asking for your presence. It's daring you to sit with the discomfort of boredom or sadness without reaching for your phone.
That really is a challenge. Like, can you just sit here and look at this dusty hill for 30 seconds without losing your mind?
Exactly. And doing that is an act of courage. We are so used to the edit saving us. Someone said something awkward. Cut to the next scene. Kiarostami doesn't cut. He just lets it hang in the air.
And it's not truly dead silence, is it? You can hear things.
Oh, yeah. It's texture, and you hear the wind, the engine humming, some birds.
So just normal sounds.
Mundane sounds. And they ground these huge philosophical questions in absolute reality. This isn't a drama happening in a castle during a thunderstorm. It's happening on a Tuesday, on a dirt road, with the smell of diesel in the air.
Okay, so we have the setting, the car, the dust, the silence. Now let's get into the actual events. The structure of the film is basically a series of job interviews.
That's a great way to put it. Mr. Badi picks up strangers, drives them around, and asks them if they want a job.
But he doesn't say what it is right away.
No, he talks around it, he feels them out. And then he reveals his request. He's going to go to a hole he has dug in the hills. He's going to lie down in it. He wants the stranger to come by in the morning.
And if he answers, help him up.
And if he doesn't answer, bury him with 20 spadefuls of dirt. It's a request for assisted burial, really.
And this is where the film just becomes this incredible study of humanity. He talks to three main passengers, a young Kurdish soldier, an Afghan seminarian, and an older Turkish taxidermist.
And each one represents a completely different way of looking at the world.
So let's break them down. First, the soldier. He's just a kid.
He really is. And he represents pure instinct, the physical fear of death. When Mr. Badi finally explains the job, the soldier doesn't argue philosophy.
No.
He doesn't quote scripture. He's just terrified. He wants out of the car.
He literally runs away.
He does. And notice how the film treats him. It doesn't mock him. It validates that reaction. The sheer biological need to survive makes this whole idea horrifying.
So instinct doesn't help Mr. Badi. Then he picks up the seminarian, a student of religion.
Now, you'd think this guy would have the answers. He represents dogma, logic, theory. He has the textbook response.
Right. He argues that suicide is a sin, that the body is a gift from God. He basically gives a lecture.
But it doesn't work. Mr. Badi listens, but he isn't moved at all.
Why not?
Because logic can't cure pain. The seminarian is technically right, according to his worldview, but he's emotionally disconnected. He's reciting a rulebook to a man who is drowning.
So you can't argue someone into wanting to live.
Rationality has its limits. So the soldier runs, the priest lectures. Neither of them connects. And then we get the third passenger, the taxidermist.
Mr. Barry, this is the turning point.
It is, and it's crucial to note that he doesn't start with religion, and he doesn't start with fear. He starts with a story.
The Mulberry story.
Yes. He tells Mr. Baddieye that he also tried to end his life years ago. He went out with a rope to hang himself from a mulberry tree. But when he got there, his hand just touched a mulberry.
And he ate it.
He ate it. And it was sweet. Then he ate another one, and then the sun started to come up. Then some school children walked by and asked him to shake the tree for them.
And just like that, he changed his mind.
Not because he found the meaning of life, but because he remembered the taste of life. This is the core of the film's whole idea. The taxidermist doesn't argue that life is morally good. He argues that life is delicious. He talks about the taste of mulberries, the sunrise, the feeling of spring water.
It's a sensory argument.
It is the only argument that actually lands. He asks Mr. Batty, do you want to give up the taste of cherries? What? He's not guilt-tripping him. He's just asking him to remember the small physical sensations that anchor us to this world.
Which brings us right back to the title, Taste of Cherry.
It's such a small, specific thing. And you see the shift in Mr. Batty. He doesn't suddenly smile and say, I'm cured. He's still in pain. But this is the only person who actually shakes his resolve because he meets him where he is.
One thing that's so interesting is how Mr. Badidi behaves. He has this grim mission, but he never tries to manipulate anyone.
No, it's this concept of choice without persuasion. It's deeply respectful. He states his need, he offers money, but he doesn't guilt them into it. And in turn, Kiarostami doesn't try to manipulate us.
That is a huge difference from most movies. Usually if a character is in that state, we get a flashback. We see the dead wife, the lost job, the trauma. We get the reason.
Exactly. But Taste of Cherry refuses to give you the reason. We never learn Mr. Batty's backstory. We have no idea why he wants to do this.
Which is frustrating. My brain wants to solve the puzzle. I want to say, oh, it's because X happened.
Of course we do. We crave cause and effect. But by withholding that, Kiarostami does something profound. He's saying his pain is valid just because he feels it. We don't need a resume of his trauma to justify his feelings.
It respects his privacy.
It respects his privacy, and it makes the pain universal. Because we don't know his specific tragedy, he becomes a stand-in for anyone who has ever felt that kind of despair.
This all leads to the idea of the thinking viewer. Because if the director isn't telling us what to think and isn't telling us the backstory, we have to do a lot of the heavy lifting.
We do. And that is the great compliment this film pays its audience. Most entertainment treats you like a child. It tells you exactly where to look, what to feel, who to cheer for. Kiarostami treats you like an adult.
He leaves a space.
He creates a void. By not filling every moment with dialogue, by not explaining everything, the film creates a vacuum. And your own thoughts, your own anxieties, your own memories, they rush in to fill that space.
So when we're staring at that dusty windshield for 30 seconds of silence, we're actually looking at ourselves.
Exactly. The ambiguity is the point. If the film told you he wants to die because of his divorce, you could just file it away and move on.
That's sad for him.
Right. But because it's ambiguous, you have to grapple with the mystery of existence itself. You become a participant. You have to complete the meaning of the film in your own mind.
Which brings us to the end. Now, we promise no spoilers, and we won't tell you what happens. But we have to talk about how the film leaves us.
It doesn't give you a neat little bow.
Not at all.
No. And without revealing the specific structural shift that happens at the very end, I will say that the film ultimately breaks its own reality. It pulls back and reminds you that this is a construction.
It feels like waking up from a dream.
It is. And that serves a purpose. It stops us from getting lost in the tragedy. It reminds us that while the suffering is real, life continues. Cinema ends, but the world goes on. The taxidermist world, the Sherrys, the sunrise, that's still out there.
It's interesting. For a film that's so focused on death, the takeaway feels intensely about life.
But not in a cheesy, live every moment kind of way.
No, much quieter. It's about presence. It's about the anchors. The film suggests that the thing that keeps us from the void isn't some grand philosophy. It's the texture of the world. It's the small things.
So, as we wrap this up, let's bring it back to the listener. Why does a movie from 1997 about a guy in a Range Rover in Iran matter to you right now?
Because we live in a world that is designed to distract us from these questions. We're constantly plugged in, constantly seeking the next thing.
Taste of Cherry is a silent invitation to just stop, to look at the fundamental nature of things without looking away.
It's an invitation to take a drive with no destination.
And to realize that even in the bleakest landscape, even in the dust, there is still the possibility of sweetness.
So we're not going to offer a conclusion. The film doesn't, so neither will we.
There is no answer here.
Yeah.
The film doesn't solve the problem of existence. It just illuminates the mystery of it.
So we're going to leave you with that final provocation from the taxidermist, the thought that really lingers.
It asks you to identify your own anchors.
In the quietest moments, when the noise stops and you're just driving through your own landscape, what is the specific taste like the taste of a cherry that keeps you here?
We'll let you sit with that.
Thanks for listening.